Jersey Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Belvidere Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted with the Star Ledger and Express Times and submitted to the Town Clerk of the Town of Belvidere on January 16, 2022. Due to COVID-19, masks will be required at this meeting. The meeting will be live streamed at www.belvideresd.org. Okay, flag salute.
Flag, America, Republic.
Hey, roll call.
Mr. Ackerman? Mr. Blum? Mrs. Cosentino?
Here.
Dr. Suppeth? Mrs. Duckworth? Mrs. Kennedy? Mrs. Scott?
Here.
Mrs. Soroka? Mrs. Steffen?
Here.
Mr. Ty?
Here.
Mrs. Weidlich? Mr. Scott?
Okay. Committee reports. Do curriculum first.
There it is. Everything was in the notes. It was in the packet, I'm assuming. I didn't scroll that far. So if anybody has any questions.
Good. Okay, anything on finance? Laura, did you want to talk as chair? Do you want to talk about finance?
I'm pretty sure that everyone got all those notes as well. So if you guys have any questions, we'll be able to answer those.
Probably worth mentioning that the governor's address is pushed back to, is it March 8th, Shelley?
Yes.
March 8th. So assuming that all the timelines will be pushed back as well. Probably not too much, but we won't be under that same constraint that we were. I doubt we would get our state aid numbers now until probably the 10th would be the best guess.
The very earliest, it's within 48 hours after the address.
Yeah, so that was a big change. It was supposed to be this coming Tuesday. So that will impact dates and will impact March meetings as to when we're going to try to do certain things.
I had a couple of questions. I don't know who can answer them. When it says 30 students less in the upcoming school year, what does that mean?
So we have, right now, our current enrollment at Belvidere High School is around 375. I think it's 377 to be exact. And we're projecting at 347 for next year.
Is that due to an incoming class, or is that due to less students in already existing classes?
Both.
Okay.
It's a budget-to-budget number. So I think it's 20-some is the actual difference between where we currently are and what we're budgeting for next year. But it's mainly, right, students going out versus students coming in is going to be 30 less than what we had budgeted last year and what we're budgeting for this year.
Okay.
Actuals are still yet to be seen.
Okay.
But when you're talking your tuition rate, you pay based upon your budgeted numbers.
Right.
So the budget is affected by a 30-student swing.
So the 18.2 versus the 20,000. The 20,000 is what's calculated. The 18.2 is what we're actually going to charge.
So our current tuition rate is 17.4 for this year. So we met with the sending district superintendent and BAs, and we decided upon 18.2 as the number for next year. However, if the software calculation for 22-23 is in excess of 20,000. So if we were to spend every dime of the budget for 22-23, our tuition, the actual tuition true up in 2 years could be much more.
Right.
But they're well aware of that. They wanted to keep the number low. We said that was fine. We're always trying to minimize the adjustment, but this basically did a little negotiation and settled at 18.2. We're also going to try to keep the high school cost as low as we can, because we don't want the sending districts to have a big true up going forward. And if we are 30 students lower, there's going to be some room somewhere. It means we have less kids.
Right.
So our needs should be a little less as well. It's not clear cut across the board, but we're looking at that as close as we can.
Just a comment. We've been trying to bring all the kids, find out why the kids are leaving Belvidere School District, right? We've been doing this for a long time. maybe it's time to stop trying to compete with VOTEC and time to say, listen, what VOTEC does, they do very well, and Belvedere figure out what we do very well and proceed with that, as opposed to trying to add programs that aren't going to, let's face it, we can throw 3 engineering programs down here. We're not bringing kids back from VOTEC with those. So maybe it's time to really look at what we could excel in and do extremely well in and make those students happy, as opposed to trying to split our dollars in 2 different directions. Just throwing that out there.
Good point.
I think it's a good comment. I think it's something we actually, in the finance meeting, started to go down that road. You know, although I may be blending curriculum and finance together a little bit just because of what we were talking about, but we started to talk a lot about that. And one of the things we had mentioned, just real quick, was taking a look at, through Naviance, what the students are looking, where they're matched up for career ready, you know, career-wise, what their goals are. And I think there's some things in there that we can do really well. But there's going to be some changes, though. It's not going to, we got to take a really good, strong look at that. And I think Ms. McKinney is already on that, because I think you're right. In a lot of ways, we can't compare on certain things. But I think there are areas that we do better than them that they offer too, and we just want to make sure the kids understand that.
I think the kids that are going there for a curriculum and a career choice that we can't offer. They're going for welding, let's say, okay? So when they come out of there, they're going to be a skilled welder. They can go out and get a welding job at good dollars. If we were to offer a welding class, you're going to offer a semester or 2, maybe a full year. They're not going to come out and be a skilled welder. It takes several years to get good at that craft.
Yeah. I don't know if all the kids do. I don't know if that applies to all the kids that aren't coming here or in that category. To be honest with you, I think there are some kids that don't have that particular career path in mind, that just, you know, at a quick visit liked what they see at Tech better. I still think there are some students that we could be bringing back here with what we offer.
I just think we're, you know, I think we've been down this road. We're beating this tree. We're not getting anywhere. It might be time to throw in a towel and pick a new direction for us. That's my 2 cents.
Do you have anything else?
So I do have an updated version since the finance meeting of the budget, and I do have copies for the entire board. I just wanted to make sure everyone has it. Since we're not really sure when we're going to get the state aid and when our next meeting will be, I just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to flick through all the pages. So I'll hand those out in between.
Anything else on curriculum or finance before we break to go into executive session for personnel?
Just one thing on the notes. I guess I just heard that Laura's in charge. Excellent finance notes. I mean, every detail was on there. You did a great job. Yours were good too. Just didn't want- but hers were really good. They were exceptional.
Yeah.
Yours were good too,
Good.
Ms. Duckworth, too.
I told her.
Okay. Motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel.
Motion.
It's hereby resolved that the board will now go into private session for personnel committee update. Any discussion held by the board which need not to remain confidential will be made public as soon as practicable. Minutes of this private session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. The board will reconvene in public session at the conclusion of the closed session.
All in favor?
This is not going to go through all of the linked data,
Okay.
because we'll be here for hours.
Hey.
She made copies for everybody.
Perfect.
We'll highlight.
Through to my meeting.
One. Wait one more minute. Good.
In harmony.
6:50.
Eric says we're good, but I'll wait.
It's legal. Can't do it. Not Dr. Apple anymore. No, no. Not you guys anymore. No. Which was still bull. Both of them are bull because. And you're paying taxes on the property, but I couldn't touch it.
Probably.
One piece of hair.
should get him one of those.
I have one.
Never tell.
Bring it in.
Can we get Camellia? There he is. Maybe he'll wait for public comment. You can only hope.
Danielle, ask if we're good.
Eric, are we good?
I wouldn't even wait.
We're good.
Okay. The New Jersey Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Belvidere Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted with the Star Ledger and Express Times and submitted to the town clerk of the Town of Belvidere on January 16, 2022. Due to COVID-19, masks will be required at this meeting. The meeting will be live streamed at www.belvideresd.org. Flag salute.
Flag.
Of the United States of America, to the republic, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, for all.
Like an echo.
Yeah. like-
Back of the room.
Okay, roll call.
Mr. Ackerman?
Here.
Mr. Blum? Mrs. Costantino?
Here.
Dr. Zuppeth?
Here.
Mrs. Duckworth?
Here.
Kennedy?
Here.
Mrs. Scott?
Here.
Mrs. Soroka?
Here.
Mrs. Steffen?
Here.
Ty?
Here.
Weidlich?
Here.
And Mr. Scott?
Here.
Okay. All right. Now's the time for public participation on agenda items only. Anybody? Come on up.
For those of you that don't know me, my name is Judy Black, and I am a teacher here at Belvidere High School, and I have been teaching here. This is my 19th year. I haven't been in front of the board for a while, but I'm here tonight about a couple of things. The first thing, as I look through the agenda, this is on an agenda item. It's on item number 5, to approve a sidebar. And that sidebar is a sidebar to the agreement of the terms of the 2021 through 24 agreement between the Belvidere Education Association and the Board of Education for a registered behavior technician position. And I see that here. I don't see any change, I didn't see any changes, I didn't get any addendum, so I'm assuming that you're going through with that.
We're tabling it, Judy.
You're tabling that?
We're going to table the discussion, yes.
Okay, so then you're going to table the discussion on 6 also?
Yes.
4, 5, and 6, yes.
5, 6.
4, 5.
Okay, so 4, 5, and 6 we're tabling and we're not going to discuss at all.
Correct.
Okay, well then I guess I can not discuss it. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other public participation? Seeing none. Okay.
And I do have.
Correspondence?
I guess correspondence, public participation. I
Okay.
received three emails that asked for them to be read in public participation. Public participation
Okay.
number 1. The first one. Good afternoon. My name is Jenna Malson, and I am a senior at Belvidere High School. I have a message I would like to be read at the first public participation at the board meeting on February 16th. Mrs. Schreppler is the most passionate, thorough, and engaging teacher I have learned from at Belvidere High School. She is a pillar in the community, loyal to the district since she graduated Belvidere as a student. Mrs. Schreppler supports her students at sporting events and even wishes to coach the softball team she once was a part of years ago. In the classroom, she goes above and beyond to keep students engaged and invents creative and fresh ways to teach in a way that Belvidere has been lacking for years. This includes everything from pickle surgery to teach us medical terminology and disorders, to chicken wing dissections to teach us muscle and bone connections, all of which was paid for by herself in the integrity of our education. She has quickly become our favorite teacher for the passion and drive she shows through teaching, and upon hearing the news of her teaching position, students were tearful and desperate to do anything possible to keep her. Mrs. Schreffler is a gifted teacher who has set high standards for education within Belvidere, and without her, educational quality will decline. It will be an injustice to Belvidere and its students to lose her as a teacher. I understand the situation for this year is unavoidable. However, I implore you to take the steps to have her back next year. Mrs. Schreffler deserves a position to teach in the community she is thoroughly involved in, and students deserve the passion and thorough education she is committed to giving. Thank you, Jenna Molson. The next is from Maxim Lyons, senior at Belvidere High School. Also asked that this be read in the first public participation. Good afternoon, Board of Education of the Belvidere School District. I am a student of Mrs. Shawn Schreffler, and as you know, her position at the school is being replaced due to a lack of a teaching certificate. She still has an appeal left, and it would be in the classroom's best interest to let her try again before her termination. Interview the class. It is paramount that she stays in this school as she is a beloved icon. She is loved as well as an amazing teacher. She participates in many of the sports programs and is the foundation of this school's community and livelihood. Please genuinely consider postponing her termination. Class will not function without her. At least let us finish the unit we are on. There is no point laying her off so soon when she has become an essential role model in our lives. If such an action is not possible, please consider placing her as a coach or guarantee her a position for next year when she eventually does get her certification. Please tell what we, the community, that she has supported can do to help. Thank you. And it looks like the third one is actually a repeat of the first one. So those are the two. Thanks.
Any other public participation or correspondence?
No.
Okay. All right, the superintendent's report.
Okay, we have
Don't you think that's true? Your people of the future curse you and teach you. Every one of them's bad except you. Thanks, buddy. But people smell better than reindeers. Sven, don't you think I'm right? That's once again true for all except you. You got me. Let's call it a night. Good night. Don't let the frostbite bite. Nice duet. Hey, aren't you the Princess of Arendelle? Yes, and do I know you? My name's Kristoff, and I'm an ice harvester. I mean, a recently unemployed ice harvester. What are you doing out here? I'm looking for my sister. Oh, you mean the one that went all ice crazy and ruined my business? Yes, but it was my fault. I just got engaged to Prince Hans, who I only, just met. Wait, you got engaged to someone you just met? Yes, why is everyone so hung up on this? I have good instincts. Well, I wouldn't go that way if I were you. What do you think, Sven? I think she would die on her own. You should offer to help. I would offer to help her, but I don't think she'd take it. How can you help me? Well, the storm's coming from the North Mountain, which is where I'm guessing you'll find your sister. And I know how to get up there without dying. All right, Kristoff, you're hired. So, did you know your sister could do this? I have no clue. You know, most people who disappear from the mountains want to be alone. Nobody really wants to be alone. A little bit of me. Ah! Okay, let's try this again. Hi everyone, I'm Olaf, and I like warm hugs. Olaf? Yeah, Olaf, like I
as they're exiting, thank you to the cast of Frozen Junior. We're looking forward to seeing that on March 4th and 5th. Please come out. Thank you, Ms. Kirkpat, for coming out. I'm not sure if you want to promote any more. You're very good at promotion, so.
Anything else you want to say? Thank you. Thank you so much. Great job.
Okay, next up is Irvin Jones. Irvin, I hope your presentation is as good as Frozen Junior. So I don't know if there's any dancing or singing tonight, but we appreciate it. So.
Tap dancing,
All right, well, I don't think it will be as entertaining, but as he said, I am Irvin Jones. I'm part of Troop 141 here in Belvidere, and I'm currently a Life Scout working on my Eagle. And what I wanted to talk about tonight is about my Eagle project. I've been talking to Mr. Bartow for a while now, and some of you may know and may have heard it around, but my plan is to work on redoing the dugouts at the Belvidere fields out here, the varsity fields for baseball. And I just wanted to kind of like run it by everyone, just kind of get like you guys on track. So I've been like planning and I've been doing all that, and starting hopefully this March, we'll be able to get that going. And the plan is to redo the roofs, kind of just like clean around the dugouts, and then when that's all done, we will repaint them so they are like more visibly like perceiving, I guess is the word. But just to make them look better and kind of clean them up. So I don't know if anyone like knows what the dugouts look like, but the roofs are molding a little bit. Some of the beams are kind of giving out a bit. The shingles on top are going old. So we're gonna replace those. And just around and inside, we're gonna clean those out. And like I said, just make them look better.
Thank you. I know that we don't necessarily have to board approve it, but we do just approve and we acknowledge that you're doing it, and we appreciate the effort you're putting in, Irvin, and looking forward to seeing the finished product. We've had quite a few great Eagle Scout projects done around campus over the last, I'm here 13 years, so over those years we've seen some great things, and I know yours will be just as good. So thank you for doing that and being a part of the community, and good luck.
Thank you.
The baseball program will appreciate it as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we're going to have, and I know she has a song and a dance for sure, Miss McKinney to talk about the Linkit data and the Linkit scores.
There is a song and dance?
There's a song and dance for that. It's amazing.
Thank you.
As my daughter would say, Mom, stop.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a brief overview of each of the grade levels, both ELA and math. You'll see, I know the charts are maybe a little confusing. So if you look at the charts, you'll see that there are a couple of different pieces of data. You'll have the number of results, you'll have the average score, and then the achievement bars. So what we do is we look at the average score and we look at the achievement bars to compare each of the assessments. So this is Forms A and B. Form A, as I had shared earlier, the kids took in September, and Form B, they just took at the end of January. Form C will be April, Mayish, depending on grade level. So going through the results, what I had noticed was across the board, seemed like ELA was just kind of flat. Everything almost stayed the same. Math, if you'll, as you look through each of the grades, you'll see that if you look at the average scores and the bars, it looks like the scores kind of went up a little bit in progression, and that's what we want to see. Obviously, we want to see higher average scores, across the board, and that's our hope by Form C, is to see that steady progression upward. The one great thing, now that we have data from Forms A and B, is that we can have really good discussions with our teachers. I know the high school staff on Monday had some really great conversations. They shared I asked them to put a document together. They sat in groups and looked at the data and spoke about it. And I looked at the information that they had shared based on their discussions, and there was a lot of good information that they had gotten, such as, looking at the questions and the types of answers that the kids are asked to, answer on the test. And I know at the elementary level, they're going to be having their conversations as well. So we're going to use this data during our articulation meetings and during our team meetings, grade level meetings, so that way we can start to look at our instruction and our assessments as well, and kind of see how we can pair the two up so that we can start to get these scores, to keep rising. The other thing, I was talking to one of the staff members today, is that this is only our second year of doing it, so we're still learning things about it and trying to see, what the best practices are. So I know, when you first do something, it takes quite a while to get it going the way that you want, but as I keep saying, I love Linkit. I love the data that it gives us. So what I want you to do is don't go crazy looking at it now. Take some time to look at it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I can explain whatever questions you have.
I don't know if there's anything pressing right now for Jess, but if not, we can save them. We can discuss it in curriculum. We can also discuss it at the March meeting too. So anything good. Before I go through my CSA goals, I just want to mention a couple of things. Number one, and I know she was just here, but Grace Duckworth is our Warren County Consortium for Enrichment. She is the 5th and 6th grade spelling bee champ, so congratulations to Grace. Nick Jones from the Belvidere Elementary School is our spelling bee champ there. Nick's a 7th grader, and he will be participating in the regional competition on March the 13th. So congratulations to those two. And then I did want to mention publicly the governor's taking away the mask mandate as of the 7th of March. Obviously, if you've read up on it, the mask optional as of that Monday. At this point, we fully plan to participate in that and be a mask optional district. We will get information out to parents probably at the end of next week, because we are awaiting some updates from the health department. The only real caveat that we've heard so far is that masks will still have to be worn on buses, because that is a federal mandate. So I'm not sure between now and the 7th of March if that will be taken back, but if not, then that is something that has to happen. And then the only other cautionary tale we had was to make sure that no students were being bullied for wearing masks if they choose to do so in school. So otherwise, any information that you've seen probably on nj.com or anything to that effect is what we've gotten, and hopefully we'll get some more information moving forward. So I don't know if there's any questions or comments on that.
Yo. Yep. I noticed that the show is on the March the 4th and the 5th, which is unfortunately 2 days before. Can we treat this thing like an athletic event or something, so the kids, so we can see their smiling faces while they're performing?
Yeah, it's funny. I thought the same thing, Mr. Scott. I'll find out. I'll see if I can get some answers on that one, because I think it's a good question.
Good idea.
It's almost does the mask mandate end that Friday when we walk out of school and we start fresh on Monday, or I don't know. I don't know, maybe we can have our attorney give an opinion on that since he's sitting there, but we'll take a look at that.
It would be nice to see the kids' faces and while they're staying and doing their show.
I agree, and I also, and I know not everybody was on the board back then, but it's actually, I didn't realize it until she said it, that the last time they performed was the last time for us was the last time they actually performed. So it would be nice to be able to do that, so.
Thank you.
So if there's no other questions, I'll do my, my update on the CSA goals. Just as a reminder, we've discussed me doing 3 or 4 updates throughout the year, so I'll do this one now, in either the April meeting or one of the 2 May meetings, since that April meeting does tend to get a little jam-packed with a lot of good stuff. So I'll grab the other mic. Okay. Going to just start out with, I'm not going to go through each one line by line like I did last time. I did a little more summarization, but just a few points between the two. Remember that I have 2 CSA goals. Number 1 is academic improvement. Number 2 is the long-range facility plan. So starting with number 1, we definitely made solid progress on many of the items that were presented at the beginning of the year. We'll take time to break down the ones that are appropriate at this time. As Ms. McKinney did just say, the Linked data has been instrumental in guiding our discussions with staff and will help shape our approach moving forward. The data is available to the parents, and I will hold a meeting to show parents how to interpret the data. Right now, I'm planning on having that meeting either March the 23rd or the 30th. We're just waiting to see if we needed to adjust our board meeting due to the budget being moved back. So it'll be one of those 2 Wednesdays. It will be in person. We were discussing today the possibility of also live streaming it too for people that can't make it in. But what I like to do is just to be able to walk through with the parents the Linked data, what's available, and how to interpret it, and to understand exactly what you're looking at when you see all of those different colors and shapes and things like that. And in the next update I do, whether it's April or May, we're going to do our preschool analysis. We were discussing that today as the preschool, as the administrative team, and what we would think would be appropriate to look at. And again, we're targeting really the 3rd graders, since they were the first group. I think we said there were 7 when we started the preschool program back then. We're going to be up to 35 next year. So we want to kind of see how they progressed in the 2nd grade also. 1st grade and kindergarten, we know that they've had a very disrupted beginning to their academic careers. So without reading everything, the first area that I wanted to discuss was our social emotional learning. Talk a little bit about both the high school and the elementary school, starting with the elementary school. And I will send everybody a copy of this so you can really read through all this. But just some of the programs that we've been covering, you know, kindergarten through 3rd, the worry woos, say that 5 times fast, and you can kind of see what we're doing. 4th through 8th, we have the 2nd step curriculum where we're really working with the students, and I love when I see growth mindset. And obviously, I think Mr. Carabinas would probably say over the last few days, managing emotions has been one of the more difficult challenges in the 4th through 8th grade. But you can kind of see where we are and where we're going. So very excited about that. Okay, more to the small group counseling. And you can see the kindergarten, he's got the wiggle worms for the boys. And you can see where that's all, the targeted skills, where our BD group is. You know, and just, and you can see working with Pauline Albrecht, she's one of the behavior folks that comes in offhand. So well done so far at the elementary school. I think we're doing a great job in offering a lot of support for our students. And not even mentioned on here too is the intramurals after school, because I know that goes a long way with the students. Is something to do after school, and the numbers continue to grow. So well done. So at the high school, you can see we have Cedar Mondays. Ms. McKinney says is an attempt to enhance the school's culture and climate. Classrooms where the students feel comfortable speaking about real-world issues and sometimes personal issues. This media center is an outlet where students can go during their free time to focus, spend time with their friends, and just the ideas of working on the clubs. And even tonight we're adding another club to try to get more student involvement and things for the students to do. So again, very well done. Okay. Next area just to mention is our targeted skills review. This is one of those areas that we're working to continue. It's a work in progress, especially as we start, you know, for a while there, we were having a lot of coverage issues and a lot of subs in the building. So this is really starting to get fine-tuned now. So you can see we're basing a lot of the targeted skills on where we see the students are with the Linked data. And you can see right now there's those 5 20-minute periods per week where the teachers are able to work specifically with the kids with their specific needs rather than the whole student approach. And you can kind of just keep going. We will send out the infographics, and parents by the middle of March of how to read and how to understand what they're seeing. And again, how do we share that with the students? And I've heard a couple of positive stories where teachers have actually sat down with their individual students and discussed what their Lincoln scores look like and exactly where they can work to improve. So it's becoming a very good process, so we're happy with that. Data analysis is another area that we've talked about. I know Ms. McKinney really just did a nice job explaining where we are. With Lincoln data analysis, next week we will begin our round 2. Round 1, we did meet with all K-5 grade level teachers and the 6 through 11 ELA and math to review their scores. And really the big key, again, is looking at those questions. The other thing we're going to do also is to look at the in-class assessments versus what we see on Lincoln. Just as a overview of what we've seen with the Lincoln, which again mirrors the New Jersey SLAs, is the length of the reading when they're reading those questions. It's much longer than you would expect. We were looking, I shouldn't say this here, but looking at them in harmony yesterday with the second grade, what the expectation of a second grade student to read and be tested on is quite amazing. Most people would be surprised at what that is. So, but those have been very good conversations, so we're excited about those again for next week. Our RTI process, you can read through all that. We've changed it a bit, but we are continuing to look at all of the students and make sure that they're getting the supports that they need. Same thing at Belvidere High School. Just a reminder, we did the Start Strong data earlier in the year, and we'll be doing the AP and SAT later in the year. As you can see today, celebrating our students, we finally can start bringing some of the students back. It's actually good to have the students at the meetings. We will have more coming in the spring. We are working on a monthly communication to highlight our successes so everybody can see that. And then number 2 is our long-range facility plans. I think we all agree we spent a lot of time on this. We are currently awaiting the results from our contractual obligation with H2M on our fields assessment and waiting to hear about our application for the funds for the state on those other projects we discussed. Our expectation is by the April board meeting, which again would be the next time I review, we will have all this information probably sooner, and we'll get it to the finance committee as soon as we get it, and everybody can make informed decisions. So I think with those 2, that's a pretty good summary of where we stand. Any questions? Try to do it a little quicker because we had a lot going on tonight. So last time I followed Mr. Crute, just remember that. So tonight was a little better. Thanks.
Anybody have any questions?
That's my report.
Okay. All right, now on to the agenda. The personnel section, motion to approve. We're looking at personnel items 1 through 10. We're tabling numbers 4 through 6. Any motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, roll call?
Mr. Ackerman?
Yes.
Mrs. Costantino?
Yes.
Dr. Zuppeth?
Yes.
Mrs. Duckworth?
Yes, abstain 9.
Mrs. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott?
Yes.
Mrs. Soroka?
Yes.
Mrs. Steffen?
Yes.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mrs. Weidlich?
Yes.
Mr. Scott?
Yes. Mr. Blum is yes.
Mr. Blum, you snuck in on me.
I did. Better late than never.
That's right,
Of
Bob.
course.
Okay. Moving on to the education items. Motion to approve education items 11 through 14.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? Abstentions? All right, moving to business items. Motion to approve business items 15 to 22A. There was an addendum. Motion?
So
Motion.
moved.
Yeah.
Second?
Second.
All right, any discussion on business items?
Question, what are copying costs?
what was the question, what are copying costs?
Yes.
Where is it?
Related to which item, Mr. Blum?
I remember it was about $4,000.
Oh, on the checklist?
Yes.
Okay, I don't have it in front of me, but if it was with Edwards, does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay, that's our copier lease?
Oh, the copier lease, okay.
Yep.
Any other discussion, questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? Abstentions? All right. All right, continuing business. No continuing business? Okay. New business.
I got something. I just got a quick update, if I can read from my text. Nicole Ehas, our Belvidere Elementary School MD classroom teacher, was nominated for the NJEA Teacher Spotlight, and she won. So she will be recognized at the Seton Hall basketball game that's coming up. Notice Seton Hall basketball, not Rutgers. Congratulations, Nicole.
Any other new business? Okay, then we'll go to public participation. All right, come on up.
N95s, you just can't even breathe in them. All right. I was looking at the minutes from December 15th, 2021. They were just posted and I was reading them. And I was looking at the part where it was talking about, you're talking about regarding athletic field upgrades, and you're talking about $500,000 for a grass upgrade and irrigation, $1.5 million for a turf field and track, and then you talked about $10,000 to get the real costs. Mrs. Williams stated, Belvidere students and sending districts deserve this. I really started thinking about that, and I started thinking that our students also deserve a good education in a safe, comfortable building. I can only speak for the high school, but let me tell you what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing that we don't have any wood shop. We've always had wood shop. We don't have wood shop anymore. We don't have a business department anymore. Yes, we've had new courses added, but they're online learning, which we all know from the last year or so that online learning is not the best way for the greatest majority of our students to learn. Our roof leaks. When it rains, there's buckets in the hall to collect the leaks. We have inadequate HVAC. In the rooms with windows, we open the windows. They're screens, but they're ill-fitting. They require being put in and out every day. It allows the bees to come in. We have students and staff that are allergic to stings, bee stings, yet the bees come in because the screens don't stop them. The windows are heavy. They're big, they're heavy, they're difficult to open. I physically can only open 2 in my room. The other 2 I can't. I'm just not strong enough. If my windows are open in my room, I have to leave the door open because that's the only way I can get airflow. If my door is open, then it's open, and that's a safety concern. Anybody can walk in there. Rooms without AC, the temperatures in them get to be over 90 degrees in the beginning of the year and in the end of the year. It's hot. The sweat drips off you while you're just standing there. In the rooms with HVAC, the filters in those rooms are inadequate to remove airborne viruses. Let's talk about, this isn't even students, this is about the upstairs faculty bathroom. The upstairs faculty bathrooms have no ventilation. There's no windows, there's no HVAC, just the entire faculty using them day after day with no airflow to clean out the stench of human waste. That's our upstairs faculty bathroom. I just, when I see that you're talking about spending over $1 million for a turf field. I just think that our students, yes, they deserve a good athletic field, but they deserve a good education, and they deserve a clean, comfortable, safe school. Thank you.
Any other public participation?
Colleen Williams, White Township. As a parent now and not a member of the Board of Education, I can speak a little bit more concisely on what I feel that the school district needs to do in certain areas. Mrs. Black, you are right. They deserve a proper education and a proper building, but we have what we have to work with. In that discussion was not only the discussion of fields, it was a whole survey that was done by an engineering firm that we were looking at, and we were looking more concisely at the fields because it was a question at that time. Yes, I do believe that they do need them. As I said, I have 27-year-old sons in that meeting that came here and we talked about it then. So there might be things that need to be done within the school and for education. However, we address those all of the time, and we do not always address athletics. Mr. Bartow has made major changes since he's been here, and he needs our support for that. And I was not planning on speaking about that, but I do feel that I needed to address it since my name was brought up. I do have a question, though, in reference to athletics. My daughter ordered her varsity jacket. It was supposed to be in 8 weeks after that it was ordered. I know that Mr. Bartow reached out to the company. It seems that her and another 1 or 2 students are caught in a loop. That I guess the company was having problems with the making of the coats. I don't know where her coat is. I paid for it fully on the day that I ordered it. We have reached out numerous times to this person. And when I did look at the receipt, there's not one phone number on that receipt. We had a hard time trying to find that phone number. So I'm just asking that you investigate not what's happening now, because according to him, he had to change companies with the manufacturer. It might take a little bit longer, but there are other companies out there, and if this is going to occur without him reaching out to the students that did and are involved in this changeover, I don't think that it's a professional way of dealing with things, and I'm very disappointed. You know, it's February going into March. She was supposed to have it before Christmas, and we haven't seen it yet. Another thing is I got an email from Mrs. Skoog in reference to picking their extra classes. This year, she had to take instrumental twice because it didn't fit in, other things did not fit into her schedule. I feel that she's just doing an extra class. So maybe we need to look into more options. I know that, Mary Ann, you spoke about not having options, you know, or looking at and not having the same kind of options that they might have at the VOTEC, but maybe we need to look at those and see that there's more options for the kids to take so that students don't have to double up on taking instrumental twice, because that's the only thing that fits. And now, because of circumstances, instrumental isn't, it's got a sub. So, you know, so now she really hasn't gotten her extra class. She's getting the credit for basically nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other any other public participation?
Jeff Weidlich, Harmony Township. I'm sure the board knows, or I assume they know that 2 weeks ago, DHS girls basketball gained another 1,000-point score. Nora Dornich achieved that milestone. It's an awesome feat. But I'm disappointed that I've not seen anything in the media, particularly like Lehigh Valley Live, recognizing that achievement. I know the last 1,000-point score 2 years ago, there was a small write-up in particular about that. It wasn't during like player of the week or any of that. It was specifically for that achievement. So I think that's something that should have been followed up on. And in addition to that, we have the Cedar Sports Channel, which was started during COVID to stream games. We have the ability to video these milestones also, and that game was not recorded as far as I know. I did not see it on there. And I went back to check this evening to make sure I was correct, and I see that that channel is not accessible anymore. It says it's been terminated by YouTube. So I'm not sure why that is, but so just wanted to make you aware of that.
I think that the game that she got her 1,000 points in, because I follow that too,
Mm-hmm.
It was scheduled for the next day, and then it happened a day early. So I would have been there to do something, and I'm sure because of the scheduling change, maybe that's why it didn't get videoed. That's a possibility.
Well, I mean, I've looked multiple times because my daughter's a graduate of 2020, played for the team, and I still like to watch the games, and I don't believe many have been on there this year, if any. And I don't know if everybody's aware, but I'm not sure if Huddle is being used anymore. So Huddle was a platform that was being used when my daughter played, where games were being recorded by the team for that platform, so players could access it. They all had accounts. The coaches could access it. So I'm not sure. I don't know if that's still occurring. The few games I went to, I didn't see anybody recording because they use an iPad. Because I know when we ran the Booster Club, the school purchased the iPad. We purchased all the accessories, and at that point, we're also paying for the Huddle subscription. I know towards the end of my daughter's career, it was split 50-50. The school and the booster clubs were paying for it. So I don't know how that would work with if you're recording it for that, being able to transfer it to YouTube, because that's a platform where it goes, if you're on Wi-Fi, it goes directly into the Huddle platform. But like I said, I'm not even sure if that's still being utilized, which it should be. I thought that was a great tool. As I said, all the girls had an account. They could access the games anytime they wanted to look. Coaches could they could break down the games, put clips on. Girls that are looking to play, or any of the athletes, I know other teams use it too, that are looking to play in college, can make highlight films for coaches by going in and pulling stuff out of games. So, they said it's been 2 years, so I don't know if that's still being used, but I know it was used, but I know even over time with the girls, less games were getting recorded all the time, which I was disappointed in also, that, the JV team is there, they could easily be recording those games. So, like I said, I don't know how that would transfer to the YouTube stream, if you could do that or not, but.
Thank you. We've been spending a lot of time talking about, bringing more of the feeder programs into the high school and things like that in our sports ad hoc committee, which I think is great, but I think you brought up a lot of good points, and we'll add them to the committee agenda the next time we meet, which is, I believe, next week.
All right, thank you.
Can I just comment real quick on Nora's 1,000 points? I was made aware of an email chain from Coach O'Neill to the Lehigh Valley Live reporter that covers sports. Started out prior to the 1,000 points being scored, and then all the way through, and even as recently as last week, expressing disappointment that nothing was covered.
Well, I mean, I know that when Heather and I were running the Booster Club, when we were doing the pink games, I reached out multiple times to Lehigh Valley Live, to the Sports Center, to see if someone could come and cover those games. We were playing either most of the time North Warren or Hagerstown, and we were raising thousands of dollars for charity, and I would never even get an email response. But I mean, if that's the case, and if they're not, then that's once again something that should be definitely addressed with Lehigh Valley Live, because there's lots of other things. I mean, if you go on there today, there's things in the sports section on there from 2 weeks ago from Phillipsburg, which, about just a game. So it's, like I said, it's disappointing if they're not going to cover that then.
Any other public participation? Okay, then we are going to go into executive session.
Jennifer, can I
Sure.
go back under new business? I asked that we'd ask Mr. Karuba to have a representative of St. Luke's come in and update the board on the progress of what they promised us last fall.
Doc Finance or full board?
School board.
You got it.
Thank you.
Sure. Anything else? All right, we need to go into executive session for HIB. Motion to go into executive session.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. It is hereby resolved that the board will now go into private session for HIB. Any discussion held by the board which need not remain confidential will be made public as soon as practicable. Minutes of the private session will not be disclosed until the need for confidentiality no longer exists. The board will reconvene in public session at the conclusion of the closed session. Okay? Okay. Motion to approve the January 2022 HIB findings, 2 without incident and 1 with incident.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any noes, abstentions? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.